Hello Internet, I am Xenon and welcome back to Banished. So we're just continuing along the whole tutorial series idea, and this one's all about micromanagement, more specifically in relation to farms and food produce, because once you got that sorted out you can start basically expanding your micromanagement to other areas and shifting people around as needed. So this town here is one of my earlier attempts at playing the game. So the placement of things isn't ideal, and there's also two separate farm blocks here, which is something I do not like. But, and that's mainly those are some problems. You'll see why this is an issue. But over here we've got, say, 531 food stored. We have 58 people. It's not really enough. So if I unpause this, you see the food produce should start taking a nosedive. It's fluctuating a bit as things come in, but we're already down to 300 food, and that was all of like 6 seconds. So this place is rapidly going to starve if we don't fix it up. So what I'm going to do is kill those two farm crops, put in one through here. 15 by 15 is actually the largest you can do, so nicely fit in there. Thankfully I didn't put my paths in the wrong spot. So we're going to stick, it's only winter, but we'll put in cabbage here, and we'll do another crop over here. Is this 15? No, I need to go a little further, up to there. No worries. And there we go. So I have another crop over here for the peppers. Yeah, peppers, not cabbage. And then down here is an orchard I've already placed, and it has been producing food. So orchards are something that takes a few years the trees become mature enough to produce food. So I've got one person working on that, and yeah, that's not too good either, suffice it to say. So meanwhile, we'll just let winter tick along for a little longer. You notice down here I've got 10 labourers. That's also another bit of a problem of what's going on, but we'll let winter tick on, let problems start occurring like foods. You'll see down here I'm running out of food and logs. Logs isn't too bad, we still got some firewood. That's another problem though. I've only got, I got full 4 guys out there, but should perhaps be subsidising them with some manual tree removal for now. Anyway, okay, so we're into late winter. It's about time that I start assigning people properly. So we want to bump these all up to about 3 on each farm, and that gives us 9. So you see down here it says 9 farmers at once, so we'll give them 9. Drop a couple of builders off. We're not building anything, so they'd act as labourers anyway, but just to make sure. So now this gives me 3 on each. I could bump that up to 4, but we've only got 58 population. So while a second ago that seemed like too much, now it's like, oh, it's alright, we don't need to dedicate that much to food. What I will do though is add a couple more to gatherers and also fishermen. Hunters already maxed, but I think we can bump this up. There we go, to 4. So that's just getting the most out of my other food resources in the meantime, just to make sure we don't start starving while our crops are being built. And luckily I've got enough spare labour that works. I've just killed our builders right down to 0 to focus on food. Okay, so we should see some progress here. We hit early spring now. They'll start planting probably right now, as soon as the rain ends. There we go, don't make a liar out of me. You can see them working around. We're at 1% yield, 3% over here. Cherry orchard is working a bit harder just because you don't need to start planting. Trees are already built or grown. You don't really build trees, to be honest. Meantime though, just to keep this place running, I'll tell them to chop down some more trees. I'm not too worried about the long-term effects on this because it's, 1, it's an old save. 2, it needs to be restarted anyway. So it's purely just for an example of what you can do. Turn a bad situation. I could have let that run for another year until everyone was starving, but it would have made it a little harder for me to dig it out of the hole that it was heading for in the short term. So once you have people start to die from starvation, it does become harder, but you can still pull it back out as long as you use your farms correctly. And also that cleared up a bit more space in here by removing that second crop. So as you can see, that area around the market is all important for food distribution, so I can build another row of houses through here, and it makes it much more. There's a merchant arrived at the trading post. We'll ignore that for now, doesn't matter. Probably shouldn't even have a trading post when I've got food problems anyway. Let's make sure I'm on 10 tons. Yeah, seems to be running a little slow, but we are in early summer. It's alright. So anyway, just to recap, what we've got is 9 farmers on each. So this will, one, produces a bigger yield, because the more people you have working and planting, the more you end up being able to harvest from it. So that increases the maximum yield, but 2, it also provides more labour for each plot to get that food away into storage before the first snow hits. Because once snow hits, all your crops will wither and die pretty instantaneously. There's not much time once that happens for them to get any of the remaining food out of there. But as you can see, our food is kind of sitting stable around 200. Ooh, it just dipped a fair amount. Someone must have gone and grabbed the rest of their winter's food. Got a herbalist over here. He'll be acting as temporary medicine, but mainly labour when there's no herbs to pick. But yeah, the reason we haven't started starving and we're sitting stable until the harvest comes in is because I did bump up our gatherers, fishermen and hunters, so that we're getting more out of this area over here. This also isn't ideal for the gatherer and such. As you can see, a lot of this gatherer territory does not have any trees. The other part does, so it's about maybe 75%, 60 maybe, 60 to 75% efficient, so that could be improved there as well. But this is all about the micromanagement. So once we finish through this, you'll see the food will start bumping up as they're harvesting. But as soon as they have finished harvesting, there's no point for them to be on these farms. I like to leave one person in orchards just to make sure that that's all ticking over and being maintained. But I'm pretty sure in the off seasons you don't need anybody in there. But like I said, one person, good enough. So our food is going up and decreasing at a pretty fast rate. So again, this won't get out of trouble in one season, but there you go, it's heading towards 1,000 now instead of down at 200 like it was. There we go, and that was finished harvesting just in time for the snows to come in. So what we'll do is drop this all the way down to 1 and tell them not to work these 2 fields. So what that does is leaves these open for us next time. We can just bump that count up to 9 on farming. And we'll leave 1 running in here. So that's very simple to just micromanage that quickly. In the meantime though, it's time to start sorting out our other sources of food properly. So if I was going to fix this place up, I'd probably come and build out here around the forester, I guess. I'd go stick a gatherer out here. Bit of gatherer's hut, whack it in there. Probably as close to the forester as possible. So this one I'd eventually stop chopping trees and I'd just leave it on plant mode. We'd find another source of wood elsewhere. And since we're going to go ahead and put a gatherer hut there, might as well have a hunting lodge. So that one can butt up there fairly nicely. So once that's built, we'll have another good source of food. We can plant all the trees and then probably build a second fishing dock. I think these are okay overlapping, but I'd probably just spread it out a little, or even build one down this section. Down here looks fairly nice. So build a fishery out there. And this would soon recover, as you'll see if I kept on playing this. But we're up to 600 odd food. Admittedly we're around 500, but people would have been starving if I hadn't managed the farms properly just then. I think there's a temptation to just leave one person farming all year round, which means they go and act as a labourer in the meantime, but you need to really bump that up when it is planting and harvesting season. If I bumped it all the way up to 4 per each, you would have seen a much larger yield, and I could have done that with all the extra labour I've got. So while I'm building, also good to have builders. Keep an eye on that. Not that it matters anyway, because they're not ready to build until all the resources are there. Anyway guys, that'll do it for this one. That's just a quick little lesson of micromanagement. Making sure you get the most out of your farms is key. You could even siphon some of the people off of your hunting cabin, gatherer's hut, things like that, even out of the mines, the quarry. Take them out of there, put them into farms if you don't have the surplus population because people are already dying. Tailor, blacksmith, woodcutting if possible. Take them all out of there, chuck them into farms during the spring until it hits autumn and the first snow arrives. Then you clear them out of there, return to your other businesses, and you'll soon be able to recover and get your town working again. Alright guys, that's it for now. So thanks for watching. As always, leave questions in the comment section. If there's anything in particular you'd like to see a tutorial on, need help with, whatever it comes, and I'll get around to it. So yeah, hope to see you next time.